Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of my Rampant Red Devil series. Tonight, after Man United's stunning Premier League victory over Manchester City, it's time to turn to the Europa League, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side come up against the might of Stefano Pioli's AC Milan. These sides have had many notorious games in the past, with the old AC Milan side being considered one of the best ever, with the likes of Paolo Maldini, Kaká, Gattuso and many great footballers, along with the great Man United sides. Tonight though is a different story. AC Milan are a shadow of their former selves, whilst Manchester United are in great form and should be full of confidence after their victory over Manchester City at the weekend. A place in the quarter-finals of the Europa League is up for grabs, bearing in mind we have to go to San Siro next week. Taking advantage of the first leg is absolutely crucial if we are to get through and hopefully try and win this competition this season. Let's see how the first half went. So obviously, as it's the Europa League, there are obviously going to be changes for Man United. Obviously Dean Henderson keeps his place in goal because David De Gea is still on personal leave. The back four was Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Maguire and Alex Telles, with Shaw and Lindelof being rested. McTominay and Matic were the pivot today in midfield. Bruno again keeps his place in the number 10. Dan James starts on the right. Anthony Martial was out on the left. Due to Marcus Rashford being unavailable due to the ankle injury he picked up in Sunday's Manchester Derby victory, whilst Mason Greenwood was given the number 9 role tonight, considering Martial was placed out on the left. AC Milan, meanwhile, had Manchester United right back Diego Dallo in their side, as it turns out that he's actually allowed to play against his parent club in European competition, compared to if it was a league game between the two sides, he would have been unavailable. The first half, you're thinking, well, after Man United performed so brilliantly against City, you'd think they'd want to continue that confidence going into the first half. And unfortunately, we didn't do that. AC Milan were all over us, despite many of their first team players, including former Red Devils Zlatan Ibrahimovic being out injured. It was the Giants from Italy that seemed to be in control of the match, and were very unfortunate to not go ahead after Frank Kessie's stunning strike was ruled out very harshly by VAR for handball in the build-up to the goal. It was a definite wake-up call for Manchester United, who seemed to be pretty slow in build-up play, trying to move the ball forward. Bruno looked anomalous once again in the first half. Martial unfortunately picked up a knock, which didn't look good. Matic, again, I feel shouldn't be at United anymore. He's too slow. I mean, he's not the defensive midfielder he once was. McTominay had an average first half. But there was one major moment in the first half that I'd like to talk about. Alex Telles swings in a corner. Bruno Fernandes gets a flick, beats Donnarumma. Harry Maguire's racing in at the back post. You're thinking 1-0 Manchester United, as all he has to do is literally tap the ball into the net. An £80 million defender smacks the ball against the post from 1 yard out, missing a sitter. Now, I've seen many defenders play football over time. I've watched Cannavaro, Sergio Ramos, Puyol, Piqué, Ferdinand, Vidic, Terry, great defenders in their time. I'd guarantee that all of those defenders I've just mentioned would have scored. Harry Maguire, being the most expensive defender on the planet, is unable to score from a yard out. Why did we spend £80 million? Anyhow, that was the only major point of the first half that United genuinely had. Milan dominated the first half and were unlucky to not be ahead. Second half, let's hope Man United's performance improves. So at the start of the second half, I noticed that a young Ivorian by the name of Amad Diallo was coming on in place of Martial. He joined on deadline day in October from Atalanta for £40 million after it was originally rumoured that he would be going on loan to Parma. Many fans were unconvinced at why Manchester United had just spent £40 million on a player who'd only played 33 minutes of senior football at Atalanta. a side who had done very well last season and got to the Champions League quarter-finals. However, it was surprisingly that Amad Diallo scored his first Manchester United goal, and it was a great goal as well. But, as I mentioned earlier, Bruno was anomalous in the first half. It was a beautiful over-the-top ball over the AC Milan defence. Diallo had made the perfect run in behind Simon Kjær, and he leapt above him and performed a neat backwards header, looping the ball over the stranded Gianluigi Donnarumma and into the net. And with an ice-cold celebration to show for it, it was a major moment for the young 18-year-old, and hopefully that is the first of many more Manchester United goals for him. It seems that in the celebrations, even Eric Bailly, a fellow Ivorian, loved the fact that he'd scored, jumping on top of all the players in the celebration huddle. It was a great moment, and a moment that I didn't expect to see coming. But nevertheless, Manchester United had taken the lead against AC Milan. Obviously, as the second half wore on, Ollie was thinking more defensive substitutions-wise. We tried to push forward for more goals, and Dan James as well missed a sitter as well, which was unbearable to watch. Cross from Greenwood, has to score, and he puts it wide. We should have been 3-0 up. And then 90th minute, AC Milan had come on more strongly in the second half after we had sat back to try and defend. What happens? Simon Kjær has a free header, which Dean Henderson should probably save, and it goes in. To be fair, Nemanja Matic is the one that's marking him, and somehow Kjær runs free off the Serbian midfielder and is able to get a free header and power it past Henderson, who probably should have saved it. We always make it hard for ourselves, don't we? Nevertheless, it's a 1-1 draw. And the annoying thing is we should have won 3-0 in my honest opinion if Maguire and James hadn't missed sitters. God, and now we've got to go to the San Siro, which is considered to be one of the best stadiums in world football next week, to try and get a result. AC Milan have been the second best team in Serie A this season, only behind their rivals Inter, who are leading the race for the Serie A title. To be fair, by next week, AC Milan will have players like Rebic, Çalhanoğlu, Ibrahimovic back from injury. So next week's game is going to be more harder than tonight's. Unbelievable. So to conclude, it's a result which I believe was quite fair. AC Milan dominated the game. Yes, they may have started off the second half poorly, but they grew into the half and eventually ended up dominating the last half an hour as well. It also led to their goal. United need to learn how to man-manage games a lot better, especially against European opposition. We cannot proposedly sit on a 1-0 lead and expect to hold out, but then when you have players like Maguire and James missing sitters, you know it's never going to be our night. So you've just got to look and think, we need to be more clinical and we need to defend better in order to get past these games. Next week's clash at the San Siro is going to be a crucial one. Yes, we have a Premier League game on Sunday, but I feel that the Thursday's game at the San Siro is more important, as I expect Ollie to win a trophy this season. Or in my opinion, he has to. He's lost 4 semi-finals in a row as a manager. If he wants to get backed in the summer to buy the players he wants, then he has to win a trophy. Yes, we can finish second in the Premier League, it's all well and good, but if we fail to win one of the Europa League or the FA Cup, it's not going to be a good season, because we're still going to be so many points behind Man City, who are going to be eventual Premier League winners. Yeah, it's chances like that where you think you have to score. Even I could have scored the chances that Maguire and James missed, and that's saying something. But a draw's a draw at the end of the day. There's nothing more that the players could have done. Maguire and James will know that their chances Costa just going into Italy next week more determined and more in control, let's say, knowing that AC Milan play better football at home and will have players like Zlatan back from injury. However, we have the best away record in the Premier League, so maybe going to the San Siro next week perhaps suits us. Who knows? And that's my analysis over for today's 1-1 draw against AC Milan. Thank you very much for listening. Jack's Total Tottenham series continues tomorrow, and if you haven't checked out Nathan's analysis of Southampton's 5-2 defeat to Man City, there will be a link in the description. And please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss a moment from us. And I will be back on Sunday.